Hey up folks, are you alright? Listen, this video, we're going to be doing it with my fancy new accurascale 37 that came from TMC that's been weathered by them as part of that deal they did. And I'm going to show you around that, but unfortunately, I were umming and ahhing over a decoder. I would either going to go for an HM7000 in it, or go for all singing, all dancing lockdown one from accurascale. And I struggled a bit, and basically by the time I pulled trigger I went with accurascale full package, and I got it on Thursday with next day delivery, but it's still not here yet, and it's now Sunday, so I've had to use this one instead for video. But we haven't seen him for a while, have we, old Stripey? So hopefully you'll forgive me for not having my new 37, but I can't help it. If they say next day and it don't mean next day, it might mean week after next. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if it'll come Monday, because I've had no confirmation that it's been shipped yet, so it might come Tuesday. If not, we'll wait for Wednesday and then we'll see how it is on Thursday. Anyway, it gets daft, that game, so we'll stop at Thursday. So he's going to take a drive round and we're going to show you these new tanker wagons that I've done. I started doing these tanker wagons on 3D printer, and I tell you what, and I'm not just saying it, I know some of you will say, oh, I don't do 3D printers. I'll tell you what, watch this video and you might do them. Every single one of my designs, I've designed it myself on tinkercad, and every one of my designs, including up prototypes, are on this rake, up to a point where I've now got what I class as perfection for what I want, which is I can put it on printer, press print, and it'll print, and it comes off at supports all perfect without any warping or anything like that. And that's where we're at, and it's a different design. I don't even think I've got the final design on this rake, because it's last minute off the press type stuff, but it's looking all right. And even scrappy ones that I call them scrappy, my original early ones, the cylinders, once I started taking photos of them, I could see that they weren't quite cylindrical. They had like straight lines on them. You can't really see it with human eye. It's bizarre. You can if you look really, really close. But you know, like say 18 inches distance, they just look fully circular. But anyway, there's one there, look, you'll be able to see. And we'll just get these upper trains out of the way, because we need to get some, obviously earn some money taking shipments. We can't just do videos showing you stuff. So they'll get moving, and then we'll get old experimental round, and he'll take you for a spin and show you them. Hey, and just on a side note, absolutely ages ago, probably about a year ago now, somebody said to me when I was moaning about a certain coupling that kept letting me down and breaking and falling out for no reason. They basically said, have you tried these Porterhouse models ones off eBay, the pivoting ones? And I said I'd try them, and it took me basically a year before I've ordered some. And I've got to say, I've ordered them for these tankers, because I'm not going to run them in different mixed rakes, because I think these 3D printed ones have got there's a time and a place for them, and sticking them in long rakes with all different other manufacturers is not necessarily the way forward. It might be, I don't know, but I thought for these ones I'll keep them unique. So I've got KD on end one, and then I've got these Porterhouse models ones, and I can't recommend them enough, to be fair. They're really good. I mean, they're not cheap. They never are they, though? I mean, they're not cheap. They're not particularly expensive either. They're like £9 for 5 pairs, so 5 wagons worth's £9. And that includes postage as well. So I don't know if they go to any shows and you can buy them direct a bit cheaper from saving on postage, but I don't know. I think they're quite good value. So these wagons came about. I obviously bought that design that time for that OCA wagon and printed that off, and I like that, and it prints really nice. And then I thought, well, nobody does these little tanker wagons, or I can't seem to find one anyway. I can find like European variants and stuff that don't look anything like ours, but I couldn't find a design, and I thought, well, they don't actually look that difficult. Not that I'm a computer graphics designer, because I'm certainly not, but I can measure stuff, and I can draw a cylinder on a program where you just have to click and drag it to the size you want. So that's all I did. I spent best part of a week every evening for a few hours tinkering about with this tinkercad until I got a design which were half all right, and I printed one. The first one I printed came out quite terrible, because I tried to print it flat, and you can't really print flat, you have to put them at a bit of an angle. But as Ladderman's saying now, get ready wagon counters, here we go. So yeah, my very first one, it came out and it had a bit of nonsense back end. It had gone a bit funny looking, but I've put it on anyway because why not? There'll be some that get battered in real life, so I've just got it as a battered one, and I just thought I'm going to use them all. They're all good enough to run in a rake. Some of them have got ladders on, some of them I aren't bothered. I've changed ladder design a few times, and I'm going to probably slim this down slightly now because I think these ladders are a little bit chunky. There's also that crazy looking bullet tanker that I designed. I didn't really design it, I kind of made it out of some other bits that I just dragged together onto a file. But as you'll see, some stuff's rusty, some stuff's clean, but some stuff's got them lines that you can see, and you'll see that when we zoom in. But then some stuff is absolutely super smooth. Like the front one is absolutely decent. And in this rake now, they're all 3D printed, apart from there's a couple of Hornby ones, the red ones, not that front one, that's mine, but some of the back ones, the red ones, they're Hornbys, just to add to rake foot video and just so you can compare them. I've not got any Bachmann ones, and after event I looked at Bachmann photos and I thought, oh, they look quite a bit better, so then I've added a couple more little bits of design to mine, so that they're just a little bit improved, because the one I was looking at was probably an 80s Hornby one, which would probably be a railroad version nowadays. And then when it come to painting them, I thought, do I do them all the same colour and do a big rake of all the same colour? But then I've just bought them big ones that are all the same colour, pretty much. So I thought, now I'm going to mix it up a bit. I'm going to put some quite different colours in. So I've done some that are silver, some white, some black, some red, a couple of yellow, and all sorts really, and just mixed it up a bit, because let's face it, when you see a train going down lines, it's not all going to be always same colour, is it? So that's where we're at with it anyway. They're quite a basic design, to be fair. The two parts, there's a base and a top, and the base are just super glued together. I could potentially do some like pegs for them to slot into, so they hold each other on like the other ones got that I bought, but I just didn't bother. I just did them like basic, but they look alright, as you'll see them running past now quite close. They don't look bad, and they run nice. The only problem I found is, if you look how I've done them, the tankers at the end, they've got like a flap that goes over at front where buffers are, and it's about I want to say a millimetre, but it might be a bit thinner than that. And what I found is, on odd one, I was finding they were warping slightly, just that little lip were warping, and it were making fitment quite a pain. So my latest design, I've took that out now, so the front is the base, and they sit into the base, if that makes sense. You'll see one day, because I'll put some new ones out when I get some more wheels. And good thing about these, because they're not that much money to make, it kind of you can go a bit experimental with your weathering techniques. So I've done a bit of experimental stuff on these with airbrush, just to see how it looks. And yeah, some like rusty patches I've done them just purely with airbrush, which I think is quite good. Because weathering powders are good, they're really good. But the problem with weathering powders is, if you don't seal them in, then you can't really touch wagons, or you get it all over and you put fingerprints all over the place, don't you? So I seal most of my weathering powders anyway. But then when you seal them, they don't always look the same as they look before you sealed them. And get ready, this is a rake shot, I remember this one. So yeah, a lot of weathering on this is airbrush, and just, I wouldn't have necessarily tried it if it were a £35 Bachmann model, but when they're only costing a quid or so, a couple of pound, it's well worth it. But look at that, I mean, you can't knock that, can you? That looks absolutely decent, that. Look at snakearoo going through there. And if you take out the little bit of hassle factor, because once you've printed them, as I've shown on that video the other day, you've got to give them a wash, wait for them to dry, then paint them. They're kind of too good not to do. It's like impossible not to do. So that rake there probably costs less than, I say probably costs, it definitely costs less than a single Bachmann out at the shop. So they're about £35 a minute than Bachmann version. And I know Bachmann version is going to be better. Of course it's going to be better, but it's only a bit better. Now I've got a design that I'm happy with, what I'll do is I'll order some transfers from Railtech, and then they'll start looking even better. I did get the exact pricing from, because when you do the software slicing, it tells you how much resin's going to use, and you put your price of your resin, it tells you what they're going to cost. But unfortunately, I've changed design since, so I know these particular ones, some of them were working out about £1.60 each, not including wheels. Everything but wheels, £1.60. So I mean, that's just fun out, isn't it? 160. I'm not being funny. You'd spend that nowadays on a packet of crisps, wouldn't you? So they're like I say, fun out almost. So yeah, what we're going to do, like Ladderman's saying, basically, we're going to speed it up now and show you that they don't derail and fly off at rails. They run at a decent enough speed. They're doing 2 double slips on this little route they're doing. There's 2 double slips, a curved point, and a few other bits and pieces that they're going round. And as you'll see, it's, I mean, I've not run it 100% speed because that'd just be crackers and it'd look stupid, but at a decent rate, there's no issues. I didn't get them to derail once, in fairness. This were all one take. Even got driver here to wait on doubles. They're waiting now on double slip while 31 comes. He fancied a race, so he's waiting for 31 to come through tunnel above on upper loop. There he comes, and now he's going to set off and try and race him. And as you'll see, they'll even from starting off on double slip, there's no issues. As well as double slip, as you'll see down depot, there's about 3 points they're running across all at the same time. So yeah, they're all right. They've passed the test for running for me. They run better than any others, to be fair. That's any other 3D printed ones, not any other wagons I've got, because let's face it, my accurascale wagons with ball bearing wheels run a lot better. But they're more than good enough, these. Basically what I've done is I've reamed the things with that DCC Concepts reamer, and then what I've done is I've put a little tiny drop of oil in each oval just to help it out. It may or may not provide any benefit, but in my head it certainly does, and it takes any squeakiness away if there's going to be any squeaking. I noticed before, because what I did is I printed them and I ran them without even reaming them, and even then they run all right, but 1 or 2 of them were a bit squeaky, and I thought, that's going to do my nutting listening to that. So I reamed them and fixed them, and now they run decent. So we'll have a little close-up look at some of them now. Some of them are pristine, as you'll see. Some of them are weathered up, and some of them are slightly better than others because they're all different stages. But as you'll see, I've done a ladder it's got a top and a bottom to it, and I don't know if I'm overly happy with it, but it's replaceable. I did it was replaceable, but it doesn't even break. You could literally launch it at wall full force, it won't break. So I don't know if you're looking at that grey one with rust on, you can just about make them lines out in that one. Yellow ones you certainly can, and that's them weathering techniques I just had to try out, where I'll spray a little blob and then flick it to make it look like it's, what do you reckon to that? Make it look like it's running. Anyway, some have got ladders on, some have not got ladders on. I originally designed it where that top walkway were a separate part and it like slotted in, but it were a lot of hassle that. So there's only one where I kept it like that. I can't remember which one it is. One of them's been super glued together at base because I broke it, because I've been an absolute maniac with it. But yeah, that one there got completely different ladders that I designed. I thought they were a little bit too thin then. They're almost... They're brilliant, but they're just not perfect. I can't get my head around them. I've done some really battered and rusty, and then I really like them red bases as well. Look, they look alright, don't they? I separately fit the buffers. They're all 3D printed buffers, but I separately fit them because I just think it looks a bit better that you can completely paint them separately. Otherwise, you'd have to either have the same colour or do some kind of crazy masking. I can't be bothered doing that. And then at back is my hornbys, which I've panned away from, and a little bit closer you can just make out them lines now. But look at that rusting on top I've done with airbrush. It looks alright, that, doesn't it? I think it does anyway. I'm not really bothered if you don't like it. I am bothered really, I'm just kidding with you. So I think what my plans are, these ones where they've got these little lines on that you can see, I'm eventually I think I'm going to print some perfect ones and I'm going to start replacing them, because I think this one here's not got, this one's a perfect sphere, as you can see. That's not got any lines on it. I'm going to start replacing them because you can't just keep printing them. I can't have a rake of 90, can I? That'd be silly. Shiny black one looks nice, look. I put that bottom banding on as well. That were a late addition. Originally it was just a cylinder and a base, but then I put that bottom banding on because I noticed it. My hornby one has got it, and I'd not even noticed it. And that's detail at top, look. I've got little indentations in walkway. I mean, this is tiny details, isn't it? But just shows that it's just a bit more. And that top cap as well with bits and bobs and nonsense, that looks better than hornby one that I copied it from. And there's a shiny red one in workshop waiting to get done. And I tell you what, I bet you're thinking all this is 3D printing, 3D printing. It's not all about 3D printing, is it? No, it's not. But it is today. Look at this one that I've designed. Designed this one last night. It's got there's a few bits like them, little bits of supports there. They'll clip off them. But look at that tiny ladder. That's better, innit? Look. And look at this. Get ready. It removes, look. It fits in them tiny little holes within that tiny little space. Intermediate one, look, it's in between. It's bigger than a normal, but not as big as them big uns. Decent, that, isn't it? Decent. Little number board here, look, I saw it on a wagon and I thought, oh, I'll put one of them on mine. Just nonsense, but it don't matter because it'll be good. And here it is, sat in paint shop, look, next to other, waiting for a coat of paint. Looks alright, that, doesn't it? I like it. It's not prototypical, I'm afraid it's just made out my mind. There might be one that's exactly the same, but that'll be a complete fluke if there is. And if that is the case, then yeah, I'm happy with that. And here he is with his buddies, sat freshly painted in a dark blue, waiting for some wheels to be fitted. And as you can see, there's another 7 more in line up ready for train, which puts me up to a rake of, I think, 31 at the minute. And then 31 have definitely cost me less than the price I paid for one of the bigger Bachmann ones the other week. So I've used under 3 bottles of resin, so they're about £16 a bottle at the minute or worse, so decent. Anyway, all I've done is waffle on about 3D printing. Any other news? Yes, there is other news. Here we go. What about these 00 Dave modular sheds that I'm designing? Look at the state of this. This is going to be exciting, isn't it? Basically, I've designed these little panels and then these little end concrete pieces, the way they interconnect like Lego. Basically, you connect them however you want, as long as you want, up to 7 miles. And look at the state of it. It looks absolutely amazing. Some of these are prototypes, so some aren't as good as others, but you get the idea, look. Look at this. It's going to be all right, isn't it? It's for my new layout, but we'll see. I hope that's got some of you all giddy and excited anyway. Listen, folks, we're at end. I'm going to Matrix Land, so I'll see you next time, folks. See you later. Bye.